Hi, in this session we are going to learn top 50 Linux commands every Linux user should know. Before you start learning Linux commands, there are a few important terms. Once you understand these basic Linux concepts, the commands you are about to learn will make much more sense. Focus on understanding files, directories, permissions, users, and the process R. After that, practicing Linux command become much easier. So let's start today's video.
This channel does not promote or encourage any illegal activities. All contents provided by this channel is meant for educational purposes only.
The first command we are going to learn is pwd, which stands for print working directory. It tells you exactly where you are in Linux file system, which is useful before creating, moving, or editing a file. Let's move to the next command. ls is one of the most frequently used Linux command. It displays files, folders in your current directory. In this example, we do not have any files so far. Let's create it. Using touch command, I have created a dummy file. Now, once you hit ls, you are going to see all the directories and files in your present working directory. Let's move to the next command. Now, the third command is ls-l. It gives you detailed information such as permission, owner, file size, and modification date for each of the files and directories. Let's move to the next command. This command shows all the hidden files and directories that start with a dot. So these are the hidden files and these are the hidden directories, and most of them are configuration files. Let's move to the next command, change directory. Before this, let's clear the screen. List of the directories. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create another directory over here. And once you type cd, then the folder name you want to move, you will be inside it. Cd command is used to navigate between directories. Think of it as changing room inside a larger room. So we have a larger room, and inside this room we have another room. Here is the larger picture, and this is a smaller room. If you want to change to that room in technical terms, if you want to change to this folder or get into this folder, you have to type command cd efxtv or any folder you want to get inside. cd ... stands for getting back to the previous directory. Now if you type pwd, you can see that present working directory has shifted to home efxtv. Let's move to the next command. Now, if you want to switch back to the previous directory without using cd ... command, you can use cd-. It always remembers the previous directory you came from. You can see in the example on the screen, cd- has shifted you back to the previous directory. Another cd- has shifted our path to the previous directory before home efxtv. I know that it could be complicated. If you want to learn it in detail, please join our private classes on Telegram. Let's move to the next command, which is cd-. It instantly takes you back to your home directory, regardless of your current location. So wherever you are, for an example, let's get into the desktop folder. Once you type cd-, it will take you to the home directory of your Linux operating system. Let's move to the next command. Now the next command is mkdir. So mkdir helps you to create a new directory or folder 1. Now once you type ls, you will see the folders we have just created. Let's move to the next command. Now the next command is rmdir. It removes the empty directories or folders which must not contain a file before deletion. So we have successfully deleted a folder from our present working directory. Let's move to the next command, which is touch. Touch command is commonly used to create empty files or update the modification timestamps for existing file. So here we have created 2 files using touch command. Let's move to the next command. cp stands for copying files from a location to another. So let's copy file.docs to the folder 1. And list the folder 1. You can see that we have a file over here. So let's copy another file, which is file.txt to the folder 1. And here we have 2 copies of same files into the folder 1. Let's move to the next command, move command. Before doing that, let's create another folder folder 2 or directory 2. Let's move this file or paste this file to directory 2. To do that, you have to type command mv file.txt dir2, and we do not have that file over here. You can see the file has been moved to dir2. Let's move to the next command. Now let's talk about another command, which is rm. Stands for removing files. To remove the file, we should know what files are there in our present working directory. Let's remove this file. Type rm file.docs. Now we do not have that file anymore, and this command is used to delete permanently. Normally, if you use GUI, you right click on a folder and delete it, that goes into your recycle bin. But rm command deletes it permanently. Now let's try to delete folder dir2 using same command. You can see that there is an error, cannot remove dir2 is a directory. So we have learned a command rmdir. Let's try to use that as well. Another error, rmdir failed to remove directory. Directory is not empty. It means we cannot use these commands to delete a directory or a directory which has a file in it. So how to delete it? Let's move to the next command. To do that, we are going to use a command rm-r, which stands for remove recursively dir2. And now we do not have dir2 directory over here. Let's move to the next command. To go through the next command, let's create a text file. We will get back to how to use nano Now the cat command displays the content of a file directly in the terminal, making it useful for quick file viewing. Cat file.txt. And here is the content inside this file. Let's move to the next command. Now create another file to process to the next command. You can see we have hundreds of lines in this file. What if I want to read first 10 lines? I have to scroll it up, which is time consuming. Here the next command comes in the role. We are going to use a less, which allows you to scroll through a larger file or page instead of loading everything at once. So here you can see the first 10, and you can use your mouse wheel to scroll it up and down. Once you want to quit out of this less command, you have to click on Q on your keyboard. Let's move to the next command. The next command is head. It shows the first 10 lines without loading entire file. Let's move to the next command. Tail displays the last few lines, often used for viewing recent logs or inquiries. So these are the last entries, and here you have first few entries. So these commands are very useful if you want to check a log. For an example, you want to check first 10 lines, or in another example, if you want to check last 100 lines. Let's move to the next command. Tail-f and file.txt. Once you hit enter, continuously watches a file and updates the display when new lines are added. This command is very useful for logging or monitoring logs. So let me show you the example. So we are logging file.txt. Let's add another line to it. And the new line has been added to the end instantly. To quit out of it, you have to press Ctrl C. Let's move to the next command. Echo prints the text or variables to the terminal and is widely used for scripting and automation. For an example, echo ls, bash or sh. We have printed ls and piped it to bash to run it as a command. Or let's move to the next command, which is Ctrl L, also known as clear. So once you type clear and hit enter, it is going to clear your terminal instantly, and you may not be able to see any output existed. But if you type Ctrl L, your screen will be clear, but once you scroll up, everything will be back into the terminal. Ctrl L is useful when you clear your screen, but not exactly. You can see the screen results by scrolling your mouse wheel. Let's move to the next command. The next command is man. Man opens the manual page for a specific command, providing detailed documentation and use with example. For an example, you want to learn cat command and want to see the manual for the cat. Man cat. It will show you all the usage. Similarly, you can do with ls. And here you have all the possible usage of ls command. To quit out of this terminal, you have to press Q. Let's move to the next command. Let's move to the next command, which is which itself. So which helps you to find the exact location for a command executable on your system. So once you type which ls, it is going to print the location for this file or the binary in your system. Similarly, which cat, so all the commands are stored in your system at a specific location. If you want to check where those are stored, you can use which command before the command you want to check. Let's move to the next command, which is find. Find searches your file system for a file directory based on names, size, date, and more. Type find and hit enter. It has instantly shown you all the folders exist in your present working directory, but we do not have absolute file location. To check the absolute file location for the files in your present working directory, all you have to do is type find $pwt. Once you hit enter, it will show you the absolute file location with the file path for the present working directory. Suppose that I want to check same thing for home directory. Type find $home, and here you have all the files of your home directory. This is the example for your present working directory, and here you have for home working directory. Now let's talk about if you want to check location for a dedicated file. For an example, I'm going to check for file.txt only. All you have to do is type find dot, which stands for present working directory, grep file name, and here we have the file. If you want to check the absolute file location, here is the location. So we have two files named as file.txt in the present working directory and the subfolders as well. The next command is, let's move to the next command, chmod. To check an example, we have to create a bash file first, which is also used for Linux scripting. We always start a bash file with bin bash. To save it, press Ctrl S and Ctrl X to exit out of Nano. And to run this app, you have to use /app.sh. But here we have an error. Permission denied. To run a bash file in a Linux, by default, you do not have any permissions. You have to provide an execution permission to run this file. To allow the execution permission, we use command chmod +x app.sh. Now if you run it, you're going to see the output. Script is over here and output is in front of you. Let's move to the next command. You can notice that some initials are from T and some of them are from hyphen. So all the initials from hyphen are the files and the initials from D or the character T are the directories. So this is a directory and this is a file. What we are going to do is we are going to change the user and the group, which is EFXTV for now. We are going to make it root. So let's try it on folder 1. Sudo change ownership and the folder name. Now once you type -l, you can see the owner and the group has been changed. Now you cannot create any file or folder over here because ownership has been changed. So in Linux, ownership is most important thing for a file or a directory to maintain the security. Let's move to the next command, df-h, which display the disk space usage in easy to read format so that you can monitor the storage capacity. So you can see these are the disks we have mounted on the location. It's used 1%, 4%, etc. Size for the disk and total number of space we have consumed. Let's move to the next command. Now the next command is du-sh. Calculates the total size of a directory, helping you to identify storage with heavy folders. Let's move to the next command. So I've pasted an image over here. If you want to check the human readable size for this image, you can use command ls-lh. And here you can see the human readable file size for the folders and the text files along with image. Let's move to the next command. So free-h shows how much RAM and swap memory is currently being used in your system. So here is the total number of RAM for the system, used RAM, free, shared, available for cache or buffer, and total amount of available memory, which is unused memory as well. Similar for the swap. Let's move to the next command. Now there is another utility known as top. So top provides a real-time view of a running process like you used to see in taskbar on Windows. So it provides you information about CPU usage, memory usage, and swap as well. To quit out of it, you can press Q on your keyboard. Let's move to the next command, which is ps. Once you type ps and hit enter, it is going to show you some of the running process IDs in front of you. Let's check the another type of ps command, which is ps-aux. It lists all the running processes along with details such as owner and resources using the commands. Let's move to the next command, which is kill. So kill command terminates a process using its process ID, allowing you to stop unresponsive programs. So to use this command, we have to start a process first. So let's start a job first or a process first. So this command is going to start a process which is known as sleep for 100 seconds. And there is a running job in the background. Let's stop it using kill command. Let's search for the process ID for this sleep command. And here is the process ID. Copy it. Kill-9 or kill process ID. Job has been terminated. Let's move to the next command. Let's start multiple sleeps. So there are 4 processes running in background. Let's stop them all. Kill all is the next command. So killall is going to terminate all the processes running for the specific command. So in our case, we are going to close all the processes sleep is running. And here you can see all the processes are terminated. Let's move to the next command, which is uname. It displays the detailed information about the Linux kernel architecture and operating system, uname-a. So we are using backbox. Let's move to the next command, hostname. It shows the network name assigned to your computer. Let's move to the next command. Now the next command is whoami. It instantly displays the username you are currently logged in. So if you switch back to the root user and type whoami, it will show you root. Let's move to the next command. Now the next command is ping. Ping command is used for testing connectivity between your system and another host by sending network packets. So let's check an IP if it is up in our network or not. Once you press Ctrl C, it is going to show you 100% packet loss, which means this IP doesn't exist in our network. Now let's ping our own IP address. We are getting response. Once you press Ctrl C, it shows 5 packets transmitted, 5 received, and 0 packet loss, which means this host is up in our network. And the next command is ifconfig. So if command displays the network interface and the IP addresses configured on your system. Let's move to the next command. Now the next command is curl. Type curl and provide it a valid URL. So curl command transfers the data from a website and APIs, making it favorite tool for developers and administrators. So curl https yahoo.com. Once you hit enter, it is going to reveal all the source codes behind this URL. So I'm not going to do it, and I would never suggest you to do it on any website because it is not legal to show up things which belongs to a private entity in public. Let's move to the next command. Similarly, if you want to download a file from a website, you can use wget. So wget helps you to download files directly from the internet and continue it without any interruption. So here you can see a HTML file has been downloaded from Yahoo. Now it brings us to the next command. So how to check the recent downloaded file in a present working directory. Type ls-l and T for time, R for reverse. So this is the file we have just downloaded or created. Let's move to the next command. Now the next command is SSH. So SSH command securely connects you to remote Linux machine over a network for administration or management. To use this command, you should know username and the IP for the dedicated server or a system. For an example, localhost, and the username is EFXTV. Provided the password. So I have SSH'd into my own local machine using SSH. So once you type exit, it will log out of the SSH session. Let's move to the next command. Now the next command is scp. So it securely transfers the files between a computer using same encrypted technology as SSH. So how to use scp? First of all, check if scp is there in our system or not. To do that, type command which scp. So scp is there in my system. So how to use scp? Scp file you want to copy. So file.txt in our case, and the username which is efxtv, and IP. I'm going to use the localhost for my own system and path for this folder. First, check the absolute path for this folder. So, here is the absolute path for the folder Google. And just paste everything. Delete the hash. Provide the password. And here you can see file.txt 100% copied to the Google folder. Let's move to the next command. Now the next command is tar creates archive files by combining multiple files and folders into a single package. So let's see an example. So let's move all the files to Google. There is a permission denied. We do not have permission to get into this folder, and you cannot move a folder using mv command. So it's a subdirectory where we are trying to move the files. Now let's check Google for the files and entries. So these are the files moved to the Google. To delete this folder, the ownership for the folder or the directory is root. You can use sudo rm-rf folder 1 and it's deleted. Now create a tar file. So the command is tar-cvf file.tar and Google. And here you can see there is a file.tar with file size 5.1 MB. Now let's delete the Google folder to continue to the next. Let's move to the next command. Now untar this file. So tar-xvf file.tar, and now you can see the Google folder is back into the present working directory. So we oftenly use tar command to take backup of a directory or file system. Similarly, we use, let's move to the next command, zip command to zip a folder. And again, zip compresses the files into an archive, reducing storage space and simplifying file sharing. So zip format is one of the best format if you want to share a bunch of files by combining them into another file or archive file. So zip -r because we are going to zip recursively. Google.zip Google. So Google.zip is the file name, which is going to be the output, and this is the folder or the directory we are going to zip. Now once you check the file size, you can see that it's about 3.7 MB and the tar file is 5.1 MB. So this is for backup in your own system, and this is for sharing your files from a system to another. Similarly, if you want to unzip, let's delete the Google folder. unzip google.zip. And here are the files after extraction. Now let's do something extra. Now, ls command shows you everything in your present working directory. ls ... shows you everything in your previous directory. And if you provide it ... again, it will show you everything in your two-step back directories, which is your home folder or home directory. Okay? Similarly, if you want to check and copy a file from your previous directory, just type cp ... path for the file which is into your previous directory. So ... stands for previous, and a single dot stands for present. So copy a file from previous directory to the present directory. It's done. Now, if you want to remove a file from the previous directory, what command should I use? Let me know in the comment box, or yes, here how we can do it. First of all, list the files you want to delete in the previous directory, and suppose that I want to delete file.tar. So rm ... to the previous directory, and then separate it with the / and the file name, and then hit enter. To check if it is there or not, ls ... means previous directory. So we do not have that file anymore. Similarly, if you want to move from the previous directory, you can use command move previous directory google.zip and dot. So let me know in the comment box, how can you move these directories from the previous directory to the present directory. Okay, now let's talk about some other commands. So first of all, create a file with 100 lines and if you want to check how many lines are there in this file, you can use wc-l. So there are 100 lines, or the number of lines are 100 in this file.txt. Now suppose that I want to do some modification in 50th line of file.txt. To do that, we can use nano plus 50 file.txt, and our cursor is blinking after 50. Ctrl S, Ctrl X, cat file.txt, and once you get back to the 50th line, we have done the modification. Similarly, nano file.txt, if you want to jump back to the modified word, over here, you have to press Ctrl W on your keyboard while you are into the nano, and type modified and hit enter. And you are back to the 50th line with the modifications. Suppose that you have done some changes and you do not want to save it. Press Ctrl X, press M on your keyboard. So this was it for the day. So we have covered almost 50 to 60 commands today. If you want to watch the part 2 of this session, please like and subscribe and share it with others. Take care of yours. Have a great time ahead.